Hi everyone, it's Ed from Runnable, and this is my race review of the Puma Fast-R Nitro Elite 3. So I used this shoe on Sunday in one of the big major half marathons here in London, the Hackney Half. In this review, I'm going to tell you how this shoe performed throughout that half marathon. So I've already run a park run in this shoe, a 10k in this shoe, and now a half marathon in this shoe. So I have a really good idea exactly who this shoe would be good for, who this shoe would not be good for. In my experience, how this shoe performs on race day, and I'll give you my unbiased opinions of whether you should buy this shoe. Of course, as always, this shoe was bought with my own money. Puma has had no influence whatsoever on this review. Nobody has. It's coming from me, Ed from Runnable. So stand by, get ready for the full race review of the Puma Fast-R Nitro Elite 3. So please watch the footage of the build up to the Hackney Half. You'll see some pre-race footage and some post-race footage. I actually got to meet another shoe tuber, so even more reason to watch it. It's one of the more famous shoe tubers from the UK. See if you can guess who it is before you actually see it. But yeah, I got a really lovely chat with that person. So yeah, please watch all the footage of Hackney, and then afterwards I'll be giving you the full lowdown on how this shoe performed during that race. I'll see you later. Bye bye. Just gone 5 a.m. and I'm getting ready for the Hackney Half, and this is what I'm going to be wearing today, all black, which is probably not a good idea with the sun, but it's what I normally wear. So yeah, if you're out there watching for any reason, yeah, look out for someone dressed all in black. There won't be many of those, will there? But anyway, I'll wish me luck, and I better get ready now because it's I got up a bit later than planned. See you later. Bye. Hi everyone, it's Ed from Runnable. Yeah, I'm at a bus stop waiting to get a bus that's going to take me to Arnold's Grove Tube. As usual on a Sunday, all the trains are out from my local train station. So I'll get this bus to the Arnold's Grove, get a tube from there to Highbury in Islington, and then get overground from there to Hackney Wick. So if you've seen the film Planes, Trains, Automobiles, it's like that, but without the planes. Yeah, and I'm not John Candy. But anyway, on my feet I've got, there you go, I'm going to give these another test out, this time over half marathon, Hackney Half, and these are obviously the Puma Fast-R Nitro Elite 3. Let's see if I can get that 3% extra today, as they promised. How am I feeling? Feeling okay. Still got a little bit of a sore glute, but I don't feel too bad. Traditionally I've struggled a bit in this race, for me anyway. I mean, I've got some time, I think at 1:26 and 1:23, and just recently I've been running 1:18 for half marathons. So yeah, it's not the quickest of races, even though it's fairly flat. There's a lot of turns. It can get quite busy. It's 25,000 runners today, which is incredible, really. It's a huge half marathon. It's probably now one of the biggest in the south of England, if not the biggest. It's got a really nice vibe to it, as you'll see. I'll do some footage. I won't do any race footage, but I'll do some footage before and after. It's got a really nice kind of festival feel to it. It's really nice, vibrant, ethnic vibe, that kind of mix of people descending upon Hackney, which is a very interesting place in itself. You know, it's really trendy, quite affluent now. Actually, it's been gentrified, which some people will think is a bit of a shame. Others will think it's inevitable that you've got these kind of places, these urban but kind of trendy places near the centre of London, they're always going to get gentrified because people want to live there, right? And they've got money, so it's kind of the way it is. But anyway, I should stop rambling now, and you'll wait for some race footage. Not race footage, footage of the event, the festival. As you can see, I'm a bit tired still. So it's, what is it now? 6:30, I think. Anyway, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Charles Maxwell.
I only found out the other day that the president's name.
So my best mate at work, Will, is like
Arrived at Hackney Wick station. So a little bit of a walk now to Hackney Marshes, and then we'll get ready for the start of the race. Nice graffiti in the background. Gotta love this area. Amazing canal boats, and you've got all these nice restaurants, bars you can see at the side of the water. It's really cool. Very cool area. Obviously these are the homes for a lot of people around here. Must be quite an interesting lifestyle living on the water. And it's quite cheap compared to normal houses. Mind you, I imagine it's not that cheap compared to other places in the UK where you can also live on boats, but anyway, that's what I'm doing. Look who I've just bumped into. How you doing,
Honestly,
mate?
just randomly walking, getting ready to get to the race village.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on, I see that, I know that face, I know that face. Yeah.
Well, it's been my absolute pleasure. We just had a chat, haven't we?
Absolutely.
It's been lovely. I'm going to leave this guy now because I know he wants to do some filming. And
No,
stuff.
not at all, not at all, not at all.
But we'll hopefully meet up at some point, won't we?
Absolutely. So
Yeah,
I've started doing a podcast, and I have to get you on there, one of the episodes, because you know what? It's the usual faces, the usual names you get to hear about.
Yeah.
So seeing your channel, you're bringing a very fresh and in some ways raw and refreshing perspective on the same things that I'll probably talk about, you know. So I'm excited, and I watched your recent, and I know you've got them on right now, so we'll see. I don't know if you're going to add to that review, but having a perspective that we don't normally see from people like yourself, honestly, just refreshing.
Wow, that's honestly, to hear it from you, it's great, man.
Let's go. You can pay me later on.
I'll pay him later on, right? The shoe we mentioned, we can talk about, which is the Puma Fast-R Nitro Elite 3. So let's see how they get on today.
Let's go.
I'm hoping they're going to give me that 3% extra.
Yeah. There's statistic behind it, so
We'll see.
Let's go.
Anyway, see you later, dude. Let's have it. Let's go. Bye. So we just arrived at the athletes' village. You can call us athletes, and or the event village is more probably a correct description. So we're on Hackney Marshes now. You can see things are starting to get busy, and lots of people coming through. I've had a lovely chat with Aubrey, top bloke. Really enjoyed our little conversation, and now I'm gonna have to get in the zone, get to the toilet actually, 'cause I'm dying for the pee. And we'll see you soon. Bye bye. Right, now I need to find my bag drop. I'm not entirely sure where that is. I'm looking for it now. Oh, it must be over there, I think.
Yes, I have. Catch you there.
Absolutely heaving, this place. Which is good, yeah? It's starting to warm up slightly. I was a bit cold earlier, which is crazy because I thought it was going to be boiling. Still might be, Ed, so don't get cocky. But yeah, I really do need to get rid of my bag now. There's a hawker stall there. No doubt Aubrey's probably up there at some point. Such a big event now, this.
Oh, let's go set up there.
It's such a big walk to get to the get to my number. I'm like number 37, so right at the end of this somewhere.
Okay, what are we actually looking for?
What's great about this, just nearly got in the way there. What's great about this is there's such different types of runners here today. Get the obviously club runners looking to do good times. Some Philly Bowden I saw earlier with Aubrey, so I don't think she's running now. Her boyfriend or husband is running. And then you get like just people trying to experience a half for the first time, or just being told that this is one with a great atmosphere, which it is. Anyway, there's my number thing, so I'm gonna leave you now. See you a bit. Bye. Right, making my way into the tea pen now.
Show us your numbers, guys.
Race numbers visible, please. Be only.
How come I'm not 8? Outrageous. Dramatic music.
Community. It's so amazing. Look around you, the diversity that you see in our borough. More than 100 languages are spoken in this beautiful borough. It's the world in one borough. It's so special, and I'm so glad that people from all over London have come to Hackney.
Yes, yes. You were here last year and you.
So all done. Well, yeah, that was an interesting race, to say the least. All in all, really well organised. I have to say, with this many people here, they've done a really good job at organising everything. Toilets were fine. There was enough toilets. Decent medal at the end. Yeah. Took a while to get this coffee, but I really needed it. Actually, it's actually quite cold here. It's because I've just finished, and often when I don't get a bit of warmth at the end of a race with all the sweat and stuff, I start to get really cold, so I'm feeling quite shivery. But all in all, happy with the run. I did in 1 hour 19:50 something, 51 I think, so not a PB. But you can't get them all the time. I don't think Hackney is a PB course, to be honest. Let's have a sip of that. I think it's fast and flattish, but there's too many turnbacks, you know, and you're running through the streets of Hackney, right? So there are some stretches that are long stretches, but there's a lot of turns, and with the shoe, the Puma Fast-R Nitro Elite 3, so let me show you the shoes. They were really good today, actually. I was a bit worried at the start, because when I started the race, and this is what I mean by a weird race, I started the race, I felt terrible, my legs felt terrible. I couldn't get going, it was quite crowded, and actually these shoes, they come alive once you start to put your foot down. So once I got a bit of space and could start to actually lengthen my stride a bit, they help you lengthen your stride, actually, that's noticeable. So I was able to kind of like increase my cadence, but also increase my stride length, which obviously is a recipe for going fast, right? You have to be a rocket scientist to work that one out, but they allow you to do that quite effortlessly, so I can see why they say they're efficient shoe. They're not the softest, they're not the most comfortable, and going around corners I did notice my foot moving around quite a lot, medially and laterally in this shoe. So for those of you who have stability needs, I'd stay away from this shoe. The other concern I've got with this shoe is my calf. This is the second race in a row where my right calf has felt really tight throughout the race. It puts a lot of pressure on your calves, this shoe, and that's what puts me off it for a marathon, actually. My calves are pretty strong because I'm a 4-foot runner, so they're used to quite a lot of you know, being put through a lot, but these seem to put them through more than any other shoe that I've got. So again, anyone with calf issues, definitely don't go near this shoe. It puts too much strain on your calves. I think, honestly, I think it is a really good shoe. It felt great out there at faster paces, but I do really think this shoe comes to in its own with those really fast runners. So fast runners like Ben is running, people like that, they're going to love this shoe. It's designed for them, right? For me, I can just about get away with it. For lots of people though, it's not going to be the right shoe for you. I can tell you that now. I think it's more intense, this shoe, than the Hoka Cielo X1 2.0, and that's saying something. So all in all, fabulous day. I wish it was warm now though. I'm really cold. Really well organised. The race itself, you got to do it one time. It's such a, the atmosphere is so good. Spectators are brilliant. I got lots of come on Ed. It's like the closest thing you get in London to the London Marathon, right? And for those that can't get into that, I would really recommend this, because it's got such a nice vibe to it. It's got a very young feel. There's some great runners out there, actually, some quick times. So all in all, I'll have to see where I finish with in my age group. I'd be interested to know. If I've improved a bit. I think I was maybe in the top 5 last year, maybe not actually, but I can't remember. I'd like to get the top 3 if that's possible, so let's have a look. I might not have done it with that 119, I might probably needed 118 probably to do that, but we'll see. But yeah, it's 25,000 runners, so it's a big event, and you can see behind me you've got all this field full of stalls and places to get beer and food and what have you. So yeah, great afternoon out actually. I just wish now the sun had come out. I know I'm being a bit selfish, didn't want it while I was running, but I want it now. But I'm cold, and when Ed gets cold it gets shivery. I can't even hold the camera still, as you can see. So anyway, that's all I want to say. Fantastic Hackney Half. Hope this gave you a bit of a feel for it. I love the setting here. I love the race itself. Is really nice. You go through all the Hackney streets, just going through, running past people's gardens. The guy with the hose didn't have to come out today because it wasn't that hot actually. But all in all, yeah, highly recommend it. Hope you've enjoyed today, this video today. The head's a bit all over the place at the moment. Yeah, I'll do a good shoe review of how it went in this race, because I think it's very important. I now understand this shoe a lot more. I know it's good for, who it isn't good for, and I'll do a full review. With that, I'll see you later. Love you all. Let's have it. Bye bye. So I'm outside the Hoka stall. I should go and have a look, because it's given probably my favourite shoe brand of the year, last year, with the Mac X2 and the Cielo X1 and X1 2.0. Amazing brand, love their phones, and it's the right brand, I think, to sponsor this race, because it's all about fun, this one. And I think Hoka, you can see with their bright colours, their flamboyant designs, I think that's what they embrace. A bit of fun. They're a younger person's shoe brand, I think, and I salute them. Yeah, done really well recently. It's like you can get your own personal Polaroid with Hoka. I don't know what's going on here actually. I'll find out in a minute. Gives you the idea now of how busy it is, how many people just run this race. As I said, main sponsor today, Hoka. There's other sponsors, Tinder. Might be a bit of love matching going on here today. Steady on, Ed. You're taken. Well, for now anyway. Who knows, I might meet someone I prefer today. But don't tell anyone. Right? Let's keep that to ourselves. I do feel like it's worth the money almost. And it's an expensive event, right? I think it's minimum, you're going to pay minimum 40, 50 pounds for it. But it's generally often at the end of running races like half marathons, there's a little kind of area which you can congregate, and then that's it really. Back in your car or back on your train. Here you could actually stay all day if the weather's okay. I think it's warming up slightly. I'm starting to feel a bit warmer, so that's good. But yeah, so generally you do get your money's worth. Because you now got like a little mini festival, like access to a little mini festival for the day. So just bear that in mind if it's price is putting you off. It's not just the race, it's also all that comes with it, all this infrastructure that they've put in place here, so that you could enjoy your afternoon in Hackney. And those who've never been to Hackney, it's a nice way to kind of visit the area and still get a run in. So I think I should get a beer now. I think it's like beer o'clock. I'm feeling like it's beer o'clock now. So it's getting close to 12 o'clock, which is acceptable, I think, for a beer. Right, Ed? So let me find that beer tent. My legs don't feel too bad. It's just that calf. Just my right calf, but everything else feels fine. which is unusual because at the end of halves I'm normally feeling a bit vapid.
It was only a few minutes off.
Right. Let me find the beers. Alright, in the distance I can see the word bar. Let's go and have a look. That's definitely where I should be heading. No doubt a big queue, but I think I deserve the end of race beer today. Here's the queue, here's a big queue. Oh, you're in the queue? Yeah. Cheers everyone, let's have it. I definitely will. So you get loads of bars around here, which is quite nice after you finish a half marathon. You can see why this place is really popular with the younger crowd, because it's heaving. It's a really nice vibe here. I really like the look at that one, the Grove Bar Kitchen Independent Venue. That looks like a good one. Over there, it's got nice plants over there. Gives you an idea of East London with these canals, how they've actually built these kind of restaurants and bars alongside, and you get that really kind of sense of vibrance about the area. Whether I get a place, a seat in one of these is another matter. I better concentrate on finding where I'm meant to be going here. It's going to be well busy. Okay, so you've seen the footage of Hackney. Now let's kind of go into the shoe in more detail. So some key stats around this shoe. So this shoe in my UK size 9.5 comes in about 190 grams. I probably could have gone true to size in this shoe, which would have been a 9. 9 was in short supply, as they always are with these small launches of super shoes. So I had to go up half a size. It did work for me fine during the race. I had really good lockdown in the shoe. I had no issues. But I think in terms of reducing the weight a little bit, you could go true to size in this shoe and it would be absolutely fine. The only thing I would say, those with really wide feet, this is fairly narrow, so you might want to go up half a size just to cope with that, so your toes aren't getting really squashed as this tapers in. So that's the kind of lowdown. In terms of stack height, you've got 40 millimeters in the heel, 32 in the forefoot, giving you an 8 millimeter drop. To me, it didn't feel like an 8 millimeter drop, it felt more like 6. To my calves, it felt like 6 as well, and we're going to talk about that as well. Yeah, I had some interesting feedback for you all about how this affects your calves. But if we could start first with the upper, I think the upper is a success story of this shoe. I found the upper to be absolutely superb, actually. It isn't the widest upper, but it held my foot in place. I had absolutely no foot slippage or heel slippage in this shoe. I often get, when my feet get hot and sweaty, I often find my feet move towards the end of the shoe and rub against the toe area. I didn't find that in this shoe. It held my feet firmly in place, as it did my ankle and heel. So all in all, this lightweight mesh upper did its job. Only downside, I had to really fiddle around with the tongue. It's so wafer thin, and you've got this very short pillow here, so it didn't really go up high enough. So I had to fiddle around with it to get it in place, or you can get some lace bite at the top of your foot. So just bear that in mind. Apart from that, the heel collar was absolutely fine and counter, semi-rigid at the back, had no rubbing on my Achilles whatsoever. And like I said, it kept my foot perfectly in place. So for me, this upper is a really good 5 out of 5. It's up there with the Nike Alphafly 3, is one of my favorite uppers. And the fact it's so light with it means that Puma have actually done a feat of design engineering here to get such a good upper. Laces are okay as well. They're nothing amazing. They're not up there with the Nike or the Metaspeed laces, but they're okay. I had no issues with the laces. Outsole. So Outsole did a good job. There were some wet areas, obviously, where they have those spray showers because, you know, it gets hot out there running, so they spray with water. Cope well with those, cope well with the water stations. There was no actual rain, so I couldn't tell you what it's like in torrential rain conditions. But all in all, the Outsole, I think, as we come to expect with Puma, is absolutely fine. It's very thin, this rubber, though. You see, and I'm already getting dints here, which makes me worry slightly about the durability of this shoe. We'll talk about that in a bit. But all in all, in terms of grip and rubber coverage, I think this is perfectly fine. It's a good 4.5 out of 5, if not 5. I don't think anyone's going to have any issues with this outsole. In terms of midsole, this is quite an amazing Aliphatic TPU midsole. I've got like a love-hate relationship with it already, right? At slower paces, and when I first started the run, the race, I couldn't get into my groove because there's so many people around me. It felt awful. It didn't feel very responsive. It felt firm. My legs felt like they were taking a pounding. As soon as I got some open road and managed to lengthen my stride and put some force down, wow, what a difference. This absolutely motored. It's meant to run fast in this, and the foam's been designed for that, as is the geometry. This is one of the more aggressive shoes that I own now. There was a point where I thought the Hoka Cielo X1 2.0 was more aggressive. Now I'm thinking this is more aggressive. You have to run fast in this shoe. And this is going to be a pro of the shoe, but also a downside when we talk about pros and cons. But in terms of the foam, as long as you put sufficient force down, as long as you've got reasonably quick cadence and you can lengthen your stride, this is a really effective midsole for going fast. And it was in those mid to end stages of the race where I really found this shoe gave a lot back to me, a lot of energy return. Got really nice compression as I hit the pavement around about here, and decompression and bounce. I could feel the plate engaging. All the good things that you want from a super shoe and foam I was getting from this shoe, but it was only when I was really pushing it did I feel that. In the early stages, when I was hemmed in a bit and I couldn't let my legs go, it didn't feel good at all. And I was thinking early on, am I going to have a bit of a nightmare in this shoe? As it happens, I finished really strong, probably as strong as I've ever finished in any race, to be honest, long distance race, whether that be half marathon or marathon. So I've got a really good feeling about this shoe now, that this could be a really good shoe definitely for half marathons, for 10Ks for sure, 5Ks most likely, and possibly marathons. Now, we'll go on to talk about it in my dislikes of this shoe, but I did have some slight calf issues in this shoe, and I think that could be an issue for me taking this longer than a half marathon. But we'll have to, that was my cat, by the way, if you heard a noise there. We'll have to, we'll see about that. But for now, I want to talk about the race in general. So, as I said, when we were going down these long stretches where I could really put my foot down, I could run at real pace, could lengthen my stride, this was the perfect shoe. And I can see why they're talking about this 3% plus efficiency gain. The issue is you're not always in that scenario. And there was a lot of bends in Hackney, and I felt in the bends in particular, I could feel my foot moving a little bit from side to side. And that's because of how narrow this shoe is, particularly in the midfoot area. And it's very hard to keep it centered when you're trying to take a corner quickly. So it's not the most stable shoe. So I'm kind of formulating in my own head kind of who this shoe is good for, and we'll talk about that a bit later in more depth. But already I'm sensing this is for fast runners who have good balance, good stability, have no instability or stability needs in their shoe, and forefoot runners in particular. I think already I'm pretty sold. That's who this shoe is for. If you're a heel striker that lands somewhere back here, you can see with this cutaway, the geometry is not going to work well for you, and you're going to be fighting that bevel there. For midfoot strikers, you've obviously got the big, huge gap here. You could probably just about get away if you're landing in this area here, but as you go further back during a long race, you may have some issues. But for forefoot strikers, anyone who lands around here, and the maximum you're going to drift back is somewhere over here during the race, this is perfect for you. And particularly those speedy runners who are doing sub 3 marathons, who may be doing sub 18 5Ks, sub 36 10Ks. This is an absolute winner of a shoe, and you're going to set some serious PBs in this shoe. But so that's kind of my overview of the upper, the outsole, midsole. The geometry, by the way, is really good as well. It gives you you get a nice toe off, but you do get some of a rockered experience like you do with the Cielo X1 2.0. It's kind of got the best of both worlds. It's got a nice rocker, so you do roll in this shoe, but you get a really nice spring, decompression, compression, and springy toe off. You do, and because the foam is reasonably firm compared to some of the soft offerings like the Adidas Pro 4 or the Endorphin Elite 2, you don't sink into the foam with your toe so much. So any of you with toe mobility issues, you'll probably be okay in this shoe compared to those shoes where your toes are really doing a lot of work. So all in all, that's my overview of the shoe. Now let's talk a little bit more about the race itself. Okay, so during the race, like I said, at the start I had hard work in this shoe, but as soon as I was able to get out of the crowds and started to put my foot down, lengthen my stride, increase my cadence, it came alive. And towards the end of the race, and this is key, right? So if you're going to disregard everything I've talked about so far, remember this. At the end of this race, I felt the shoe was giving me back more than any other shoe has done towards the end of a half marathon, towards the end of any race. And I think it's twofold. I think this foam is an amazing blend, this Aliphatic TPU. It's you get, like I've said, you get really nice compression, decompression, and it's bouncy, but it's also not too soft that you get that sinking feeling and it's taxing on your feet. So that nice combination means that by the end of a half marathon, you still feel like you've got a lot of energy left. And I think a lot of that is to do with this shoe and how efficient it is in terms of running economy. So I think those studies are probably quite true, actually. But I do feel like it's not going to suit everyone. So if you're like a racer like me, who's doing like sub 3 marathons, sub 120 half marathons, you can just about get away with this shoe. I think if you're somebody who is at 3:30 or 4-hour marathons, if you're somebody who's doing like 130 to 140 half marathons, you might not get the best out of this shoe. And I think for those people, it might not be worth the £260, and you might be better off looking at some other options out there on the market. I think this shoe though is definitely a PB kind of shoe, one that if you're feeling good, you're on form, you're a reasonably quick runner, you land on your forefoot like I do throughout that race, you can get a PB in this shoe and it will help you. I didn't get a PB in the Hackney Half. I don't think, for me, I don't think it's a PB course. There's too many turns. There's too many out and backs where you go back on yourself. It's congested at the start in particular. You know, it's a big event, but that means it's 25,000 plus runners. So at points during the race, you are going to get hemmed in a little bit. So for me, that isn't a PB kind of race. So I didn't expect a PB, but I didn't do badly. It's my third fastest half marathon time ever. And the other two were in Victoria Park and Battersea, which have none of those issues that I've just talked about because of how wide the paths are. And they're obviously nowhere near the amount of runners as there is in Hackney. So I think with different conditions, I could have got a PB. I do feel like this is potentially not the best shoe for where you've got lots of cornering to do, and there's a fair bit of that in Hackney actually, and I did feel myself having to slow down a little bit in this shoe, whereas something like the Metaspeed, either the Sky or Edge, I don't feel like I would need to have done that, nor with the Hoka Cielo X1 2.0 either, even though that's slightly more unstable. I think with this shoe I definitely felt I was moving laterally and medially round the corners depending which way I was going. My foot was moving and I was conscious of that, which meant I slowed down, and then you have that that period of time where you've got to build up again, the momentum again, and you lose valuable seconds in those moments, which all add up by the end of the half marathon, particularly a marathon, right? So I do feel like there are certain courses that will suit this shoe, like long stretches where you're running in a straight line, right? So London Marathon, Chicago Marathon, Berlin Marathon, expect to set some really fast times in this shoe. But Hackney Half, not so much. And there'll be other like, half marathons that, this shoe would not be suitable for. But I think all in all, it really did me proud, this shoe in the race. And the best thing I could say, like I said a few minutes ago about this shoe, is it kept me going right throughout the race. And by the end, I felt really good in this shoe. I was overtaking lots of people, really pushing. I don't think I finished the race quite as strong as I did in this shoe, for a long time actually. My splits as well, it kept me at a very even pace. Apart from the first kilometre or so, I looked at my splits and they've never been that even. So again, this points at that efficiency gain and the running economy improvements, how this just works. It keeps you bouncing along, gives you that nice energy return, a nice flow to your, when you're lengthening your stride. So I think all in all, Hackney race itself was absolutely superb. You probably watched some of the footage. If you haven't already, please watch the footage. I would highly recommend it. Like I said, I don't necessarily think it's a PB race, but if you want something that feels a bit like the London Marathon, but it's possible to get into, Hackney's the closest thing you're going to get in London. Okay, so I highly recommend that as a half marathon. I know it's not easy to get in the Hackney one now, but it's still a little bit easier than London, let's be honest. So let's just talk about some key categories and then some likes and dislikes, and then we'll finish the review. So some key categories. So stability wise, as I've said, there's not the most stable shoe. Going around corners can be a bit tricky, but going in straight lines, I didn't find the bounce was that irregular. I felt even when my legs were a bit tired towards the end, this felt absolutely fine and kept me going. So I would say it's a good 3 out of 5 for stability wise. As long as you haven't got loads of cornering to do, I think this is absolutely fine. In terms of speed, I think this is a super fast shoe. I've given it 5 out of 5. There aren't many shoes out there that will compete with this in terms of lengthening your stride, even putting force down and really motoring, increasing that cadence. This encourages you to do that. So in terms of speed, it's a 5 out of 5 shoe, no doubt. Durability, we've got some question marks, as you know. These dints do not look promising for me, and I'm not a heavy runner, right? So imagine if I'm a 4-foot striker. I'm, 63 kilograms, 5'9", so I'm not a big guy, right? If you're a bigger guy than me, you might be causing some serious damage in this shoe already. So durability wise, it's on the fence. I'm going to give it a 2.5, maybe 3 out of 5. But don't expect this to last hundreds of miles. I see this as more like a 200, 250 mile shoe. So keep this for races, folks, because you want it to last, because it is that good. Price wise, it's too expensive, $260, should be $220. But you are getting a lot of bang for your buck in this shoe, particularly if you're a quick 4-foot striker kind of runner. So those of you that are, it might be worth spending the $260. Those of you who aren't, I would seriously consider whether this is the right shoe for you, or whether you go for something a bit more economical, but something you know, that's more suited to the way you run. Okay, let's go through some likes and dislikes. So likes, I love how lightweight this shoe is. It's really, really, really lightweight. It feels like you've got nothing on your feet. I like the upper. I think it's one of the best uppers out there. I had no lockdown issues. So other likes in this shoe, obviously the outsole was perfectly fine, grip really well. The midsole is amazing, this Aliphatic TPU. It's not the softest, but it gives you back so much energy return. And I feel like towards the end of a long run, a long race, I got no bottoming out in this shoe. And I felt like I did a little bit in the Cielo X1 2.0. I think this foam is firmer and more responsive, and you get still at later miles, you still get that energy return. So I really love the foam in this shoe. I love the plate as well. It's one of these plates that I do engage. It's quite low down, the plate, as you can see. It's down here. You can see the kind of plate line here. So you've got a lot of foam above it, but I still get that nice, I can feel that plate compressing and decompressing. I get that nice ping from it forward. And I get the feeling that the more I'm running this shoe in the next few races, the better that's going to feel. So I really like the plate configuration and the foam, and the geometry works for me as well. It's sufficiently rockered, but I do also get nice toe spring in this shoe without my toes feeling terrible by the end of the race. What I didn't like about the shoe, some key things. Now it's 2 races, 10K, half marathon. Both times I've got really sore calf, my right calf. This takes it out of your calves, right? And there's no doubt about that. I'm feeling that now. I've got quite strong calves. For those of you that have got calf issues, steer well clear of this shoe. It's not the shoe for you. It puts a lot of strain on those calves. I noticed that throughout that half marathon. At one point I was just kind of fingers crossed my calf wasn't going to go. So I have that worry in my mind for a full marathon. As it happens, you know, I finished strongly in this shoe. So for me, that was kind of unfounded. But even now, the next day, I am feeling my calf a little bit. So all I'm saying is, for those of you that have had a history of calf problems, you maybe want to avoid this shoe because it won't be doing you any favors, I don't think. What else didn't I like? Instability going around corners. Your foot does move a little bit left and right. It means you have to slow down. It means then you have to then ramp up again. So I lost a bit of time going around corners. It's not the worst shoe. It's not like as bad as like the Wave Rebellion Pro Beta, but it's still a fairly, unstable shoe taking those tight corners. And also the price. I mean, I guess the £260 is what Puma pitch it at because of all the, the efficiency gains it says you get with this shoe, but I think it's too much. I think, anything above 220 is too much, to be honest. So that's the other thing I don't like about it. So overall then, who do I recommend this shoe for? What is it good for? So I'll start with what is it good for actually. Very good for 5K, 10K and half marathons, potentially marathons if you've got the legs that can cope with the strain it does put on those calves and a little bit on your hamstrings. But if you're strong, if you've got strong legs, if you've got high cadence, if you've got somebody who's got decent cadence but also can lengthen their stride, you hit the ground with strength around this part of the shoe, and you get that nice bounce, compression, decompression, energy return and plate engagement. You're going to love this shoe, and particularly later on in those longer races this foam stays alive, whereas other foams, some of the Puma foams for instance, I feel get a bit deadened towards the end of marathons, even half marathons. This foam, you get just as much energy return at the end as you do at the start. Who it's not for, so this felt lousy to me at slower paces. So when I was hemmed in at the start and I was running sort of around 4:30 for a bit, that, there wasn't a long period like that, but there was a short period where I just couldn't get going. This didn't feel good at all. At 4:30 km pace, this did not feel good at all. So just beware, I think this is going to be, unfortunately, more for quicker runners. People are doing sub-hour, 3-hour marathons. People are doing around 120 half marathons. Maybe that's a bit harsh. Maybe like, 125 half marathons and, sub-18, 19 5Ks, right? I think that's the sweet spot. I'm not saying you couldn't use this shoe if you're slower than that. I'm just saying you're not going to get as much benefit as I found when I was going at slower paces. As soon as I upped the pace, this came alive, and that's just, unfortunately, that's just facts about this shoe. For those of you that are fortunate enough to be in that category of someone who can run a sub 3-hour marathon, or a let's say sub 130 half, or a sub 19 5K, it's going to be a great shoe, particularly if you land about here. So that's where I see this shoe, right? So do I recommend it? Well, yes, for those runners, absolutely. It'll probably be worth the $260 because it is that special. For the vast majority of us though, I don't feel it's worth it. I do think there are better options out there, less aggressive rides. Unfortunately, a lot of the newer shoes that are coming out, they all seem to be very similar. This just happens to be right up there at the top tier, but a lot of the other shoes that are coming out, they seem to be for people who are, sub 3-hour marathon runners. But this one is particularly aggressive and not one I would want to see in the wrong hands or the wrong feet, because you could end up with some serious problems in this shoe, not least in your calves. Okay, so that's my end of my review. Put in the comments, if you found the review useful. I mean, it's obviously bought with my own money, it's completely unbiased, just my own thoughts. You may have your own thoughts, so please, if you disagree with me, let me know. If you're running this shoe, disagree with what I'm saying, please let me know. If this confirms in your own mind this is either the shoe for you or isn't, let me know. And anything you want to know about Hackney and the half marathon, please, I've run it 3 times in a row now. Happy to talk through any questions you've got on Hackney. But yeah, you need to sign, if you want to run Hackney, you really need to sign up ASAP because it's going to sell out pretty quickly, and it gets more expensive the longer, with each round of applications, it gets more expensive. So now you get the early bird entrances, and try and get one now if you committed to running it next year in May. That's all I want to say. I love you all. Thank you for listening to this review. Like I said, if you've not seen the Hackney footage, please do, because there's a nice shot of me and another shoe tuber chewing the fat. Anyway, see you later. Bye bye.